The Sanchar Saathi app has triggered a full-blown showdown. As the government pushes a new rule making the Sanchar Saathi app mandatory on every phone sold in India, regardless of its making, regardless of what company, etc. it is, social media has gone into a full meltdown. Some users are calling it Pegasus 2.0. Opposition leaders have dubbed it as Pegasus ++, accusing the centre of trying to pry open every corner of our digital lives. That, of course, is political hyperbole, but the directive itself is blunt, sweeping, and raising perfectly valid questions. So what is the Sanchar Saathi app? What exactly will it do to your phone and mine? And why does the government want it pre-installed on every device, every phone that is sold in India? Let's break it down to you on what the government says versus what the experts are telling us. Number one on our list. Now, the government says it helps track, block and trace lost or stolen phones using the IMEI numbers, stopping criminals from misusing device. Now, what are the experts saying? They are saying that the IMEI-based tracking, once centralized, could now become a powerful tool for state surveillance, allowing continuous monitoring of a user's phone. Number two, what is the government saying? It lets users verify whether a handset is genuine, helping curb counterfeit and black market phones. But the experts say that the mandate arrived without any public consultation, raising concerns about constitutionality, consent, and the precedent it sets for government control over personal devices. Number three, what does the government say? That the app shows you all mobile numbers issued in your name, preventing SIM misuse and identity fraud. Quite valid, right? But the experts are saying what? They feel that providing this feature requires the app to access sensitive identity-linked data, creating fears that such information could be exaggerated as well, it could be expanded as well, or repurposed in ways sort of users cannot even oversee. Number four on our list. What is the government saying? It lets citizens report suspicious calls, text messages, and WhatsApp fraud, strengthening telecom cybersecurity. But the expert view here is to do this, the app requests permission on SMS, on call logs, on notification access, on camera, on photos, and on device identifiers. Permissions that, if misused or expanded, could offer intrusive insight into your entire digital life. You can't even imagine how. Number five on our list. What is the government saying? Government is saying pre-installing ensures maximum coverage and the app delivers real value only if it sits on every device from day one, which is why they've made it mandatory. That's their rationale. But again, what is the expert saying? That the government app forcibly placed on every phone creates a dangerous baseline. Once mandatory, future updates could broaden functionality, normalizing deeper stake presence on personal devices. What else is the government saying? Number six on our list. Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia actually clarified today, after all that backlash you heard his bite right in the beginning of the program as well, that's saying that, well, users can uninstall the app. It has no role in snooping or spying. It's up to you. It's your discretion if you want to have the app on your phone or not. But what are the experts saying on this one? That uninstalling doesn't address the core issue. Should the state be empowered to force install software on every citizen's phone in the first place? Is that the norm internationally as well? Number seven, finally then on our list, what is the government saying? That the Sanchar Saathi is simply a cyber safety tool, a shield against fraud, theft, and telecom misuse. But the experts then say that the concern isn't that the tool as it stands today, it's the potential of scope creep tomorrow. A mandated government-built app with sweeping permissions could over time become a gateway to pervasive monitoring. And that's the crux of the debate. A tool designed for safety or a precedent that reshapes digital privacy in India. The country is now wrestling with one fundamental question, really. Where should the line be drawn between security and surveillance potential. So those were the big pointers there, what the government is saying. And what about the experts at this point? Remember, this is not politicians bickering. These are what experts are telling us.
Sanchar Saathi mobile app is a citizen-focused tool that brings security and fraud reporting straight to your smartphone, empowering users with safety and awareness. Through the app, citizens can block lost or stolen phones and prevent misuse. They can report frauds and scams via calls, SMS or WhatsApp, identify international calls masked as domestic, and check if their handset is genuine. The portal ensures transparency by letting people see how many mobile connections are issued in their name. It also helps users check details of wireline internet providers across India. The app is inclusive and accessible, available in Hindi and 21 regional languages on both Android and iOS. Since its launch on 17th January 2025, it has already crossed 50 lakh downloads. From the Sanchar Saathi live dashboard, over 37.28 lakh stolen or lost devices have been blocked, and more than 22.76 lakh traced successfully. Sanchar Saathi is not just reducing telecom fraud, it is reinforcing digital confidence and shaping a safer citizen-centric future for India's mobile users.
All right, so that was just a little glimpse of what this app is all about. But let's also tell you what the political bickering on all of this has been. The entire 2 days of Parliament, this was a topic of discussion. Here's a report with a wrap-up on all the comments.
Sanchar Saathi mobile app is a citizen-focused tool that brings security and fraud reporting straight to your smartphone.
Get ready. Your smartphone is about to get a new companion, the Sanchar Saathi app. The Indian government has directed all phone makers in India to pre-install this app on every new device sold. Companies are also urged to push the app to older phones through software updates. As per the government's directive, phone companies must ensure the app is pre-installed, easily visible and accessible from the very first moment you turn on your device. The mobile manufacturers must ensure the app's functionalities are not disabled or restricted. And there's a tight deadline, 90 days for installation, with a compliance report due in 120 days from giants like Apple, Samsung and Vivo. Reuters, citing sources in Apple, said that Apple will not bow to the diktat and will not preload its phones with the app. Apple is said to be planning to convey its concerns directly to New Delhi. The government says that this is about protecting users from telecom fraud, duplicate IMEIs and cyber threats. According to the government, the Sanchar Saathi app allows users to block lost or stolen phones, verify if a device is genuine, and also see all mobile numbers linked to their ID. But there's a catch. The app requires access to camera, call logs, phone status, SMS, and notifications, sparking privacy concerns. Congress and allies slammed the move, calling it a potential snooping tool and warning it could compromise citizens' privacy.
It's a very fine line between fraud is easy to report and we can see everything that every citizen of India is doing on their phone. So that's not how it should work. There should be an effective system to report fraud, and we've discussed this at great lengths on cybersecurity and this and that, and definitely there's a need for cybersecurity, but that doesn't mean that it gives you an excuse to go into every citizen's telephone.
कोई भी लॉ जहाँ पे आपके पोस्टल कुरियर सब में ताक झांक की जा सकती है नेशनल सिक्योरिटी की आड़ में, वैसे ही नेशनल सिक्योरिटी की आड़ में जर्नलिस्ट पत्रकारों पे पेगासस के थ्रू सर्वेलेंस कराया, ऑपोजिशन लीडर्स पे स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड सर्वेलेंस कराया, अब 140 करोड़ लोगों पे सर्वेलेंस कराना चाह रहे। अब आकर क्लैरिफिकेशन इसलिए दे रहे हैं क्योंकि देश समझ रहा है किस तरीके से हमारे घरों में घुसकर, हमारे फोनों में घुसकर ये जानना चाहते हैं हम किससे बात कर रहे हैं, क्या बात कर रहे हैं, कहां उठ रहे हैं, कहां बैठ रहे हैं।
The government clarified that the app can be uninstalled. Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia assured users there's no compulsion to keep it.
एक तरफ विपक्ष चिल्ला रहा है कि आप फ्रॉड कैसे रोकेंगे, दूसरी तरफ अगर संचार साथी का ऐप हमने आम नागरिक को दे दिया तो कह रहे हैं पेगासस। जो लोग सत्य नहीं देखना चाहते हैं उन लोगों को हम सत्य नहीं दिखा सकते। जो लोग सुविधा इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं वो करें, जो नहीं करना चाहते हैं और डिलीट करना चाहते हैं वो डिलीट करें।
Sanchar Saathi cannot reach your personal data, cannot breach your personal data. मैसेज नहीं सुन सकती, कॉल नहीं सुन सकती, पर्सनल डाटा ब्रीच नहीं कर सकती है। उसका काम सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करने का है। जो यूजर्स हैं उनको वो सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करेगी, फ्रॉड को रोकने का है।
So the question remains, is Sanchar Saathi a smart security buddy or a digital watchdog? Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, let's cut across to my colleague Cyrus now, who is the editor for Emerging Tech here at India Today. Hi, Cyrus. I have a very technical question for you, apart from all the political bickering that has been going around. Now, when the government says that technically you can uninstall the app, now what does that mean? Because if whatever we understand about data in tech, it is that your data is never gone. It's always there, it can always be retrieved, it can always be accessed in some form or the other. So does removing an app mean that all access has gone? Because if I go back to what Pegasus was doing, it was actually activating the phone on its own, recording on its own. It was like a full-time control on the phone. Is it technically possible to do it on apps like these?
Well, Sonal, first you need to consider what kind of application we are talking about. For example, let's first answer the first question about data being on the smartphone. For example, you install WhatsApp on your phone and you uninstall it after a couple of months. The data that you downloaded via WhatsApp could be images, could be audio notes, could be documents. All of that data remains on your smartphone. It doesn't go anywhere. But WhatsApp has been uninstalled, right? Similarly, for example, there are certain applications that store certain credentials into keychain encrypted passwords. For example, if you install an application, but you decide you didn't like it and you uninstall it after a few days. After months, you realize, okay, I want that application back on my phone. You install it again, and then you will see the sign-up procedure is quite simpler than before because some of the credentials that application needed are already stored, however, in an encrypted manner. So to say that the application is snooping, there is only one way. Third-party sources, third-party companies or organizations will have to do a thorough review of the Sanchar app in order for them to find out whether it is actually snooping on your data. Because in terms of permissions, yes, it has access to your SMSs, it has access to your call logs. There would be certain documents that will need to be uploaded via this Sanchar app. And for that, you will need to give it access to the camera. So via the camera, you will get access to the storage. So certain amount of data access will be, yes, available to Sanchar app. However, on what level, the kind of snooping it will enable, it's something that
totally depends on who's operating the app.
Also, yes, because we need to understand what kind of encryption is available on the data that is being put through the application. So, like I said, a third-party entity needs to intervene here and needs to really look at whether there is actually a backdoor within the app and whether it is really secured so that users can put their personal data over there.
The second question here is on how much can it really be applied? We understand Apple has already said no, and that was expected, right? Apple has said no to several other countries where I think in North Korea, one such app was introduced, or one such thing was introduced, and they said no. So we were expecting Apple to sort of say no here as well. Can other companies as well, like Xiaomi, Samsung, what are you hearing from them on what is their reaction to this app?
So right now, they haven't come out and said anything explicitly against like installation of certain applications. However, OEMs, mobile companies do install certain apps before they launch smartphones, but there is a commercial aspect involved over there because they do get certain revenue from certain pre-installed application. However, if the government approaches an OEM to install an application and do it, I mean, it's a directive that Android, at least smartphones, can follow. It's not going to be easy for iOS devices, specifically Apple devices, because they do not entertain any sort of third-party apps within their ecosystem. All of their applications are installed from the software, the OS version side. So for Android, it's relatively easier, but considering the fact that Apple has come up and said, okay, we are putting our foot down, we're not going to do it. There's going to be a lot of pressure among the other OEMs also to join this ecosystem and say, okay, we might not comply. However, if there is a directive, if the government is playing hardball, then it will be interesting to see. For Apple, it's very difficult to do it. I don't think they're going to comply that easily.
All right. So that gives me one reason in our Apple versus Samsung debate that we will sort of have another day. But that's a story for another time. Thanks so much, Cyrus, for joining us with the very latest.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that was our in-house expert. Let's bring in some cybersecurity experts in this conversation as well. Joining me next is Kanishk Gaur. He's an iTechnology expert, founder of India Future Foundation. Also with us is Dr. Pawan Duggal, advocate in Supreme Court, cybercrime, cybersecurity law expert as well. Kanishk, to you first. I was looking at what all access you have to give to the Sanchar Saathi app, and the list is pretty baffling. It says camera, permission required for camera, that means all your pictures, photographs and videos. It says call logs, also read all your call history. It says telephone, that means IMEI number, network information. It says SMSs which have been sent and viewing messages as well. Storage, flashlight permission, run foreground service, control vibration, run at startup, auto start when the device boosts, Google Play license check as well. Full network access, connect to the network, see Wi-Fi and mobile status, and then another one is keep device awake. Now this is a long list. My first question is, are all these things required for security and just to ensure that you know where your phone is, or perhaps if you lose it, or if perhaps there is, like a data malfunction that happens? Is all of this required?
I don't think so. All of it is required because access to your phone's pictures, access to what text messages are being sent or are being received. I don't think so. All of that is required. So this is going back to similar days when we had the COVID app, where due to spread of COVID, they wanted to track location of people, look at what are their status on COVID. So such permissions evade user privacy and trust. Mind you, we are trying to bring out a data protection and DPDP rule. This would allow government to collate data at a mass level, and this organization will then again become a significant data fiduciary. The big question is, will government keep this away from complying to data protection law by making exceptions for the Department of Telecom Digital Technical Intelligence Unit? Or would they be subjected to the similar data protection norms as a significant data fiduciary? Because this is large amount of metadata which will be collected by this app. And then pre-installed apps come with a lot of tracking, which could be geolocation tracking, which could be used for surveillance as well. So this is coming out in a way that this has become a mass surveillance tool, which the government can use. So how do you keep it independent? Under what regulatory norms would you keep it working independently so the government does not misuse it against the citizens, right? For its own interest? Or how do you compare it to a tool like Pegasus, which was introduced in the past? So you have to draw boundaries between privacy, data protection versus cybersecurity. That is not clearly coming out right now. Ideally, there should have been a public consultation before government making it de facto.
Right. Let me bring in Dr.
Which
Pawan
has
Duggal
not
as
happened
well.
right now.
Yeah, of course. Mr. Duggal, now the deal is that I have done so many stories here as well on how digital frauds are taking place left, right and center. The need for a device or perhaps a way in which digital frauds can be stopped has never been more. So in a situation like that, my question to you remains the same. Are all these, pre-installing the app, doing all of this necessary? Is that the only way to give us some digital protection?
I don't think pre-installing apps alone is sufficient for giving us digital protection. We are all our own digital citizens, our own safeguards. We'll have to take each app on its own terms. Please read the terms and conditions privacy policy of each app before downloading it. Please look at the permissions that you're granting. If the permissions are not crucial or significant to the main area of operation of the app, please don't download the app. That's a fundamental stuff. Please, in the post-COVID-19 era, we have to realize the new cyber world order has come in. The golden age of cybercrime has also arrived. And it's our duty to understand that cyber criminals are targeting us with both fear and panic. In a scenario like this, as states are becoming very powerful, they're increasingly wanting to have access to more and more data. In a scenario like this, you have to make a choices how much data you want to share with the government and to what extent. So please, reviewing the terms and conditions and specifically the permissions that you give for any apps becomes of crucial necessity to determine whether you want the app or whether you don't want the app. Ultimately, please remember the Brahmastra is in your hands. The Brahmastra is to download, either not download the app, or even if it's a pre-installed app, to uninstall the app because your privacy is more important than anything else.
But is uninstalling the app enough? Which is what I was trying to understand from Cyrus as well. By just simply uninstalling that app which comes as part of your factory settings, are you able to keep this alleged snooping away? Is that possible?
Well, I think you'll have to wait and watch to see how things actually evolve, because the Sanchar Saathi app says I'm putting in reasonable security practices and procedures, which according to ISO 27001 is the mandated mandate under the IT rules 2021. But more clarity is required. Once we have more clarity from the government as to what are these reasonable security practices and procedures, people can take a well-informed decision as to what they need to do vis-a-vis this particular app. But ultimately, if you're going to be careful, if you're going to uninstall the app, if you are not comfortable with the app, you're going to, in any case, protect your privacy. At the end of the day, don't be in a hurry to download or to use a particular app. Please look at what the customer reviews are, what the technical experts are saying before taking a well-informed, intelligent decision in this regard.
Mr. Tugal, you raise a very important point. But the fact is the choice really in our hand? Because look at any other app, and let me bring in Kanishk also at this point. Is the choice really ours? Today, aren't all apps doing exactly this? Isn't WhatsApp in access with everything that I do? Isn't Google? Isn't every little app that I install to sort of maybe scan my documents or maybe use a printer document or maybe make some greeting cards or invites, aren't all apps doing exactly this? We've done episodes earlier as well, Kanishk, and you were part of that, where we said that, listen, data privacy is a myth. We live in times where you simply cannot afford to have data privacy. And while Mr. Duggal says uninstall it, can we imagine a life without WhatsApp today? Can we imagine a life without Instagram? Like, I don't think that that is a choice at all. Kanishk?
See, when you're installing such apps, you have to assume that you are using your metadata and they are using it for other purposes. The bigger issue that we face is you don't have a data protection law which has been implemented in the country. So you have not taken informed consent from the users. So it's the right time that you initiate the swifter implementation of the data protection bill. So whichever app, whether it is WhatsApp, whether it is Telegram, Signal, or the Cyber Sati app that we are talking, has to take consent from users and inform the users about the permissions that it is obtaining, and also have reasonable safeguards built in. So we don't know right now, the Sanchar Sati app, what is the level of security testing being done on this app? How secure is this app? Has anyone published a report, independent assessment report of the Sanchar Sati app? Has it undergone a certain panel security audit? Has government's own agencies done a security audit?
Let's
and can they share
assume
that
it's
piece of report
as good
with
or
everyone?
bad as any other government app, which is what brings me to the question on how safe it is. Forget government misusing it. Just simple issue of safety. IRCTC, we all know what happened to that app. We know what's happening. Just yesterday, a massive leak has happened. I don't want to propagate the email ID right now or the website right now where people can punch in anybody's name and you get all their details, their numbers, all of that. That is also out. Every day there is a data breach that is taking place, which is why, Mr. Duggal, I'm trying to understand, is the fundamental question is not just about will the government misuse it, but the fundamental question is, aren't government bodies always a step behind, catching up to fraud, never ahead, and thus it makes it very dangerous?
I think governments, by and large, across the world, are pretty much in the catch-up mode. They are still not very much clued up on how to deal with the latest trends of cyber frauds. More so, cybercrime is a service powered by artificial intelligence, but we are not alone. But still, I think, given the humongous volume of the population of the country, the government is doing a remarkable job. It just is that cyber criminals are far more intelligent, far more smarter, and far more innovative. So we will have to constantly keep on enhancing the capacity building capabilities of the government to keep on updating them about the latest trends on cybercrime in order to empower the hands of the government to fight cybercrime as a paradigm. But that part, we have to ultimately educate the users. We have to sensitize them that while the government comes in with its own inputs, while the law is there, you ultimately have to take your own care. You have to have your own Suraksha Kavach so that you
That
tomorrow
you can
do
do
not
on
become
private
victim.
apps. How do you do that with government apps? I'm not sure how it works, but let me ask you a simple, plain question, and that goes to both Dr. Pawan Duggal and Kanishk Kaur as well. Simple question. Do you think this is the solution for cybersecurity in India? Yes or no? Mr. Duggal first and then Kanishk Kaur.
Any state-sponsored app is not the solution for cybersecurity. We have to inculcate cybersecurity as a culture amongst all stakeholders, and everybody has to contribute in making the ecosystem more secure. The government alone cannot do this.
Got it. Kanishk?
Any pre-installed app which is put will not solve for the larger cybercrime, cyber fraud issues of the country. If it has to be done, it has to be done through building a security culture, by building its cybersecurity awareness, security by design, trust by design. This app is not bringing trust by design because the user consent has not taken into consideration. There has been no public consultation, and it has been imposed on the users without proper testing of the app. So I don't think so this is solving for the issue right now.
Okay, so two experts both saying this is not solving for the issue right now. Last one question that I want to ask both of you as well. Dr. Pawan Duggal, how are other countries fighting the issue? Cybersecurity is a challenge for, for governments across the globe, right? How are other countries, how are other sort of, areas of dominance dealing with it? Or even, corporate enterprises dealing with it?
Well, every country is adopting its own methodology. They are coming up with dedicated laws on cybersecurity. They're also coming up with national cybersecurity policies. They're going in for extensive capacity building programs. And ultimately, they're all ultimately aiming at trying to protect the critical information infrastructure. So it's a mixed bag. Everybody has got their own approaches to deal with it. India can't do a cut, copy, paste. India needs to do its own particular strategy to go ahead and protect cybersecurity, more so when India does not have any dedicated law on cybersecurity yet.
Dedicated law, that seems to be something that both of you have been highlighting, that that's what's the need of the hour. That's what we need to really get into, not an app which is so-called going to sort of fix it, and both of you are saying it's not going to fix it. Then Kanishk, what will? Get down to what is required in the cybersecurity law right now to ensure that my data is mine, not Google's, not Instagram's, not WhatsApp's, not even the government's. My data is mine.
So introduce the personal data protection bill and make minimum exceptions to it. The number of government departments which have been put under exception, that needs to be coming out clearly. Right? Give people their right to choose, the right to be forgotten, the right to consent, right? So you have to give the digital rights to people, whether they want to download such an app. Don't make it mandatory. Don't make it pre-installed. Make privacy as a culture. If the Supreme Court of India has said that privacy is a fundamental right of the Indian citizens, implement it on ground. The government needs to showcase it by doing it. Right? I think that is not happening. And this app pre-installation is a clear example that the government is violating the fundamental right of Indian citizen, which is privacy.
Got it. Kanishk Kaur, Dr. Pawan Duggal, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us with your perspective on this. So two experts there, and the verdict is pretty solid. The verdict is pretty simple, that they don't think this will solve the problem. So we need to go back and see what exactly will happen. Also, the the phone makers. Apple, for example, has already come out to say that they will not be complying.